But I'ma tell you like this, when I saw that, I think T.I. fucking lying.
Tell me. It been 20 years, bro. It been 20 years. I figure if I wasn't built like that, it'll show by now. It been 20 years, bro. I done faced every challenge motherfucker that life can throw at me, man. You ain't seen me fold, you ain't seen me break down.
I gotta say something about this, bro. Dwayne Wade, you gone too fucking far, dog. That is a male. A 12-year-old. At 12, they don't even know what their next meal gonna be. They don't have it figured out yet. He might meet a woman, anything at 16 and fall in love with her. But his be gone. How you gonna? Like, bro, you going too far, dog. Don't cut his off, bro. Like, bro, for real. If he gonna be gay, let him be gay. But don't cut his off, bro.
The hip-hop community was recently shocked by a scandal so sinister that it seemed to have been lifted from a crime movie. This time, the courts will be the battleground, and T.I. is not merely seeking retribution. He is going to engage in combat. He is suing Boosie because a leaked tape led to his son, King Harris, becoming embroiled in one of the most repulsive scandals the culture has ever seen. This isn't related to tabloid rumors. The stakes are blood, honor, and legacy. T.I. claims that Boosie and dishonest businessmen set up his boy by making a movie that was never intended for wide distribution, according to court documents. This was no accident for Tip. A surprise attack occurred. A calculated attack to harm King's reputation and permanently harm the Harris name. A significant emotional toll was incurred. On camera, T.I. was seen trembling and speaking softly as he told reporters outside the courthouse, "This isn't just about my son. It's my life, my honor, and my blood. Nobody will be allowed to put us up."
Of course I spoke with my son. Me and his uncles. We were perplexed by his necessity to go back and forth with a short order cook. I didn't understand why he felt he needed to stop what he was doing to engage someone who was at such another level of life. Now, I had to explain to him that, when people are not living the way they hope they would live, and here you is walking in with so much freedom and luxury, and people gonna posture themselves a certain way. So therefore, you're gonna have to enjoy your life. You're gonna have to remove yourself from that energy and go enjoy your life.
Millions of reposts flooded feeds as soon as that raw analysis went viral. Advocates said they have never seen T.I. so defiant and broken. While half of the rap community screamed for King's justice, the other half accused it of being dishonest. However, it quickly became apparent that this was more than just meat. It was a battle for survival and reputation. Many initially believed that the video was a hoax, just another circulating rumor. But the reality struck like a hammer as further footage came to light. King Harris was caught on camera, but it also seemed like Boosie's own son was engaged in the mess. The hashtags #JusticeForKing and #ExposeBoosie were popular on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. What began as murmurs turned into a cultural revolution that impacted not just King's reputation but the entire Harris family.
With the T.I. situation, if he did that, you're a fucking rat too. I don't spare no motherfucking body. Because if you doing anything wrong, you doing anything criminal-wise, and you cooperate with law enforcement to get you out of trouble, that means you're cooperating, that means you're a rat.
The suspicions grew increasingly intense. Some fans suspected Boosie directly, while others suggested a more sinister industrial plot. King is being used as a pawn by puppet masters in a billion-dollar power struggle behind the scenes. Consider that weight. A young man attempting to forge his own path was abruptly transformed into a representation of treachery. Muscular beings laughed in the shadows as his name echoed. There were several videos as well. More files on hard drives, according to insiders, were just waiting to be destroyed or exploded. Labels were accused of paying for the leaks, and anonymous accounts quickly spread the material online to prolong the embarrassment. According to family sources, every phone scroll was a reminder of betrayal, which prevented King from eating or sleeping. Boosie responded by calling the accusation false and claiming that the footage was altered. However, his denials merely increased awareness. The quiet before his tirade, and the abrupt rise in burner accounts. The figures didn't add up. After that, things took a turn for the worst. Boosie's own son was groomed, courted, and used as a weapon against King, according to T.I., in addition to being caught up in the mayhem. If I'm not mistaken, this was no longer meat. Children were being utilized as puppets in an unpredictable rivalry. This was psychological warfare. The stakes are really high. It wasn't just rappers who were at odds. This monarchy was struggling to stay in existence. A parent fighting to keep his son's reputation from being permanently damaged. Fans were also kept on edge as the courtroom heated up, and there were hints that more footage was coming. King Harris became the face of humiliation after the tape went viral online. The weight of hashtags, memes, and never-ending arguments about the video's authenticity caused social media feeds to implode. Now, however, the truth was irrelevant. There was no way to undo the damage once it spread. King never got a chance to establish his reputation before it was ruined. Some supporters accused King of sabotage, while others made fun of him and joked about his suffering. The demonstration caused a rift in the culture. "This wasn't an accident," King said, breaking his stillness. "This was done to harm me by someone." His words turned rumors into tragedy with a thunderclap. "You're crazy if you think I leaked anything." Boosie yelled at the cameras and denied everything. Fans weren't persuaded, though, because of the time, the untrue rumors, and his previous interactions with T.I. King's attorneys, who filed a large lawsuit accusing him of slander, emotional anguish, and invasion of privacy. With every viral video and meme that further wounded King's wounds, the flames became hotter online. This was humiliating as well as distressing for a child who had been in the spotlight all their life. Boosie escalated his victimization in interviews as King declined. Fans searched for proof because they were incensed over receipts that may either exonerate or implicate him. There were rumors that this was either a scheme to ruin King's career before it had even started or retaliation against T.I. King entered the courtroom in silence, embarrassed, and the proceedings turned into a show. Witnesses reported paranoia, shaking hands, and disturbed nights. The harshest truth was articulated by a family friend. He ceased to be King Harris. He deteriorated into a shadow of his former self. His ambition to be famous had turned into a curse. Insiders disclosed that King was in a downward spiral, avoiding calls, retreating, and refusing to be seen, despite the Harris family's valiant attempts to protect him behind closed doors. Betrayal was the most painful thing, and ambition had given way to treachery. It was both personal and legal if Boosie was really involved. King, who had previously trusted a friend who turned out to be Judas, was being used as a tool to overthrow him. The story was Shakespearean in this sense, a contemporary tragedy of loyalty turned treachery, all set against the harsh background of public scrutiny. The shocking news then arrived. They found files that were allegedly encrypted and connected to Boosie's group. His interviews suddenly sounded frantic, and his denials sounded empty. As fans gasped online and reporters pounded their keyboards, the courthouse trembled. Sitting a few feet away, Tiny and T.I. were unable to tolerate it. Their tears were caught on tape as their son's nightmare played out. Lawsuits become less important than survival. "Y'all turned me into a meme, into a joke," King continued in his shaky voice as he got to his feet. "I'm not laughing, though. I was ruined by this. I no longer even recognize myself." Even his detractors were silenced by his words, which echoed throughout the courtroom. However, the internet wasn't kind. Trolls turned every emotion into material by using his confession to make TikTok parodies. Piece by piece, fame had consumed him. In the digital era, pain is permanent rather than transient. Replayed, saved, and remixed indefinitely. According to insiders, King's condition was deteriorating and he was losing favor with friends and even relatives. It felt like a fresh blade every time someone hinted that more leaks coming were inevitable. How much more could he take before he broke? It was devastation, not beef. In addition, supporters blamed not just Boosie but the entire industry. The society that makes money out of suffering. The humiliation-feeding internet. The company that creates viral content through treachery. Boosie tried to change the facts by saying he was just being used as a scapegoat. The streets, however, didn't accept it. Instead of seeing him as the victim of a real-life disaster, many saw him as the enemy. Expert witnesses who provided testimony in court stated that King's experiences could cause stress, anxiety, PTSD, and hopelessness, among other long-term effects. For a long period, this humiliation continued. He had been wounded by betrayal. Furthermore, nothing could undo what millions had already witnessed, even if Boosie was shown to be at fault. Innocence cannot be purchased with money. Courts are unable to restore dignity. The stain on his name cannot be removed by a verdict. That's the unsettling reality. This was not a particularly significant leak. It was a weapon. His notoriety exposed him rather than shielded him. King Harris is now a living example of how your failure in this area could inspire someone else's story. Someone else takes advantage of your suffering. Will he ever be able to regain the dignity that was taken from him, even if he is successful? The unfortunate question is that, with tears in her eyes, T.I. said, "This isn't just my son. I will not allow them to bury him alive because this is my heritage and my blood."